I'm Mark Dresner, and this is Forward Focus, a special interview series featuring experts and leaders at the forefront of innovation. Forward Focus is brought to you by the Front End of Innovation Conference, FEI, the world leader in advancing innovation, now entering its 15th year. Joining us today is John Klick. He's the Senior Manager for Worldwide Innovation at Pfizer. John, welcome to Forward Focus.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your role and responsibilities at Pfizer? What does that entail?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm on the Worldwide Innovation team, and our mission is to accelerate innovation in the everyday. So we're a small but mighty team of about 11 folks, and we support the entire organization, all 77,000 Pfizer colleagues. So we're responsible for our Dare to Try program, which is our flavor of innovation and experimentation. So it's the tools, framework, and mindset to bring out the entrepreneurial mindset within our organization. So how do you get a 167-year-old company to think and act like a startup? But that's really the problem that we're looking to solve. How do you get 77,000 colleagues to think and act like entrepreneurs?
Well, how do you do that is a great question. And when you and I spoke earlier, you actually mentioned design thinking, which I thought was a little uncharacteristic for someone coming from one of the world's largest pharmaceutical companies. What's that all about? I mean, how does Pfizer define sort of this space and thinking in this way, and why is it important for you?
Absolutely, yeah. So our flavor of design thinking is this Dare to Try innovation experimentation program. So it's made up of flavors of design thinking, lateral thinking, creative problem solving, a little bit of lean startup. So it gives colleagues the tools and behaviors to go from, on the innovation side, that clearly scoped problem to gather insights, and then use those insights as a springboard for ideation. And then over on the experimentation side, it's all about taking those prioritized ideas, coming up with the critical assumptions for each of those ideas, and then developing experiments, low-cost, rapid experiments to move those, or to test those ideas, and then ultimately at the end decide whether we rapidly fail or rapidly scale those ideas. And to your point, I mean, it's a lot of organizations are doing this, but to your point, it's more design focused. It's not, a 167-year-old scientific pharmaceutical company, but it's something that we felt was really needed to kind of push our colleagues outside their normal patterns of thinking, normal rivers of thinking, to get into that entrepreneurial mindset. And also on the technology side, one of the ways that we're actually starting to blur the lines between the online and the offline with respect to design thinking. So typically with design thinking, it's more of an offline exercise. And really, there's no substitute for getting folks into a room. But with the pressures on budgets and colleagues, not necessarily wanting to travel, and so we have these tools in place, these collaboration tools, as part of our framework, to allow colleagues to connect to those folks that they wouldn't even know existed within the organization.
And this is all under the umbrella of Dare to Try.
It is, yes, okay. Yeah. So in essence, we virtualized the Dare to Try program, which is typically a paper-based program, and now it's able to be accessed and worked on online. So it breaks colleagues from kind of the usual suspects model. So when you go to solve a problem, generally you work with the team that's closest to you, both generally geographically and kind of from a network standpoint. So this allows you to take that challenge and put it out to, in essence, or to open it up to the entire Pfizer crowd, that they can look at it and say that, hey, this, I've tried this before. Why don't you try this? So it really gives you access to a wider network.
Fascinating. And does this, what aspects of the business does this touch?
This is available to all colleagues in all business lines. We have successes in in many of our business lines now. Typically, this is more focused on the commercial side because with us being a heavy R&D, research and development focused organization, there are processes and tools in place, and really the mindset of our scientists are thinking kind of innovatively. But even in that case, we're still provoking them with how we just look at a problem a little bit different than perhaps they had in the past. And also with our R&D folks, they are very familiar with experimentation. In science, it's all based upon experimentation, where our commercial folks are less likely to experiment with, say, a new campaign than they would as opposed to our researchers.
How long have you been at this? How long has Dare to Try been around, or has this sort of evolution of it or stage of it?
We're about 2.5 years-ish with Dare to Try. There's been essence of the program that has spanned the last 8 years. So this is really built upon the previous business leads and innovators and grassroots efforts in pockets throughout the organization. So in essence, Dare to Try is really built upon those successes. So we really took that and expanded it to the entire organization.
I see. So sort of took the learnings there and really systematized it basically here, put it into a process. Not every company obviously has the scale and the resources of a Pfizer, but for someone who was listening who would like to put something into place in their organization, what advice do you have for them? How can they get started right away?
Yeah, definitely. I would say one of the biggest successes for us is our champion or community network of Dare to Try advocates. So I would say go out and seek these entrepreneurs that are within your organization. These folks exist today, and really pull them together. Develop some lightweight tools. There are frameworks outside. Design thinking frameworks that you could pull together and start to look at your problems in a different way. And I can almost guarantee that these folks they've got a huge appetite for doing something different. So if you can get them exposed to other areas of the business and apply this framework, I think you'll be pretty excited to see what happens. On the flip side, I would say even just even something that you could do just yourself is just going externally for stimulus. Looking outside. Typical colleagues at Pfizer will ask when they're solving a problem, who else within the organization has done something similar? And some of the more daring colleagues will say, well, what are other pharmas doing? We will push people to say, well, what is a wheat farmer in Wisconsin doing? How would they solve this problem? So something as simple as that is going externally. I mean, there's so much data available in case studies, and just kind of thinking about the problem in a different way can really get your mind in a totally different direction in terms of how you might solve that.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on the effort.
Thank
you for sharing this with us today, John.
Thank you.
Yeah. And that concludes this episode of Forward Focus. If you'd like to learn more about FEI, the Front End of Innovation Conference, please visit us online at Front End of Innovation. I'm Mark Dresner. Until next time, thanks for tuning in.